Today, traders, we got on our Trading Topic Tuesdays. Welcome. I'm Glenn. This is
I'm Reid. What's
yeah
up?
Hawaii Trading Academy. We're bringing to you awesome content. The goal is to keep you guys, bring you guys from point A to B, wherever you are in trading, whether you're starting out. We want to help improve your trading skills, your knowledge, by sharing what we've gone through through our years in the markets. Especially this topic, we're going to be going over fundamentals versus technical when it comes to trading styles, trading approaches, trading philosophies. We got a little nice presentation for you guys to share, and hopefully it's gonna be very useful. Open up different perspective for you folks, and yeah, let's begin. Let's get started. Let's get started. I'm gonna go into my screen share right here. Fundamentals versus technicals, man. Woo! Just a icebreaker slash get your gears rolling in your brain, right? Before we dive into the content, the actual content. Imagine you were stuck on an island and you only can choose one to trade off of. You can either choose price quotes at the end of the close, or you can choose the top news headlines. Which one would you be able to trade successfully off of? Think about it for a second, right? Maybe a minute, right? If you're stuck on an island, no Wi-Fi, no cell phone coverage, nothing, right? You just got Wilson, the volleyball. You got some pigs over there, some palm trees and coconuts, okay? And you still had your nice size account sitting back at home. What would you rather trade off of? I know for myself, all I need is a price. Just give me the ending close. How would you rate?
Oh, same, absolutely. Good prices.
Yeah.
It is stressful.
That's something to think about. We're gonna tie this into the topic for fundamentals versus technicals, right? So fundamental, the definition is forming a necessary base or core of central importance. Another definition is serving as an original or generating source. So on the right of this is Jim Cramer, Mad Money, host on MSNBC, one of those things, and he's very animated, and he puts so much confidence in his fundamental approach. There's a quote that he said, something about like he'll take his fundamentals over any day than anyone's technicals, something in that ballpark. That's what he said, because he's so strongly sold that his fundamentals and his information, the way he sees things discretionarily, he's willing to put money on it. And hey, it works for him. Okay, it works for him. He got a little bit of money. He's not Mr. Hedge Fund, right? But Jim Cramer, he got his own TV show. That's successful.
His TV show is successful, but it's his journaling.
I don't know if you guys seen this meme, right? It's just an awesome classic meme about animation of I think this would be like on the trading floor, right? Or even it can be a tone, at your workplace, a toned down version, or at the golf course or the beach, right? Family members, family and friends, you go meet them, right? That could be it. It could be an interpretation right here. Yeah. And Mr. Warren Buffett, right? Buy into a company because you want to own it, not because you want the stock to go up. And that's some deep stuff right there. Of course, he made his fortune off of his ability to read about companies, how to perform, how they are profitable, and he looks at his scope. The way he manages his decisions in buying stock. He uses like a 10-year plan, 10-year scope. He goes in. I remember him saying, if you ain't gonna be willing to keep the company for 10 years, you shouldn't buy it or something. Wow. Yeah. And so But hey, he got his own deal. He uses his information that he researches, makes his decisions, and he's a baller, man. I mean, he's the guy. He's the guy that everyone talks about, right? Everyone tries to model after him, right? Um, they're always picking apart what he says, the one-liners. They're trying to decipher what does he really mean, right? But he's the guy. He's the guy. He is. He cannot. Um, what you call, like fluff any of his success. You know, it's legit. Like his legacy is goes on generations, right? So it's just examples of fundamentals. Here's a snapshot of how it was pre-COVID. Bro, look at that guy. Pre-COVID, this is how it was at this New York Stock Exchange. Fed announcements, news, interest rates, weather patterns, world events, social media, internet. You got shout out to the Wall Street bets guys, huh?
Yeah.
And on the right, that is one of the last trading pits. I think it's in somewhere in UK. It's London Metal Exchange. So this is 2020 or 2021. They are still actively trading on the floor. You don't see a single computer in their hands. They have pieces of paper and they are trading because it can be done. That's how it's done before. It's very unique, very unique. So, these are all different characteristics of fundamentals, as you would see. You want to add anything to that, Reid?
Just a fun fact that the guys in the middle that no longer exists. I think Ben kind of briefly touched upon it, but yeah, these crazy scenes that you see in the movies for stock trading it doesn't go like that because computers respond so much faster now, so much quicker with our technology.
Yeah,
So it did.
let's talk about like the evolution of that, right? Because
Yeah.
back in like the 80s when the stock market was blowing up, I was reading a story of how people had the company firms, trading firms would have so many positions of like people, employees. You would have the guy who's always on the phone, and then in between you have the guy, the runner they call it. The guy on the phone writes down the order that he's taking for a client or whoever, passes the order to the runner, and he runs to the floor to goes and tries to pass it to his other coworker who gets the bid in. You know what I mean? That's
So
how it
he's the
was.
executor, yeah, like in real
Executor.
estate.
Right, and it was a lot going on. Yeah. And
High
so now
stress environment.
nowadays it evolved to open your phone, click, click, done.
No middleman.
Yeah. I mean somewhat, right? We still got brokers. I mean, you
But
have to
always.
have, but the technology has changed the game.
Oh,
Really?
another piece of fundamentals. I don't know if you included it in the next slide, but social media in our
Yeah.
day and age, social media is huge. It's yeah, like yeah, it mentions news, interest, weather patterns, world events, social media, and internet. So like Elon Musk tweets, Donald Trump tweets, like they move the market a lot.
Yeah, Wall Street bets, man. I mean, they had that whole debacle in with GameStop, man. AMC. So those that's the new market movers. I don't know what you would call them.
Yeah, it is. Got millions.
So yeah, technical. So we shared about fundamentals. Technical, the definition from the dictionary: having a special or usually practical knowledge, especially a mechanical or scientific subject, relating to or caused by the functioning of a market as a discrete mechanism, not influenced by macroeconomic factors. So, the second definition, the way I break it down for local people, we have a mechanical system, trading robust system. It's not influenced by the news or media or social media, right? Or internet, macroeconomic. um, and that's just the opposite of fundamentals almost. Yeah. So we have I posted a picture because I'm trying to relate each side with a face. So Buffett, Cramer, they're fundamental guys, for what I know. And then what we have here is Ed Sakota. He was one of the first. Right here it says in the 70s, Ed pioneered the testing of mechanical trend following systems on a punch card computer. I don't even know how that works, but punch cards, man. They don't even exist anymore.
I don't even know how they look like, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know how it looks like, but he in the 70s, I mean, I think his story, yeah, he would find somehow get permission to go into one of the exchanges at the time when it was closed to go do some back testing. He would use the
How
yeah.
old was he at the time?
Uh I would say maybe 40s, I don't know. I'm not sure. But
Wow.
like in the exchanges, or you're not even supposed to let nobody near those computers or the
After, yeah, especially
databases.
after hours. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was able to go in and do research. I mean, he made it clear like he was just gonna do research. He wasn't gonna do anything sketchy or manipulative. But yeah, that's the way that's kind of how he started, because of course he didn't have the computer power back in the 70s. I'm like, what was around? I don't think Apple was even around, huh? 70s. Macintosh.
No, I think it came out like in '84.
80s. So yeah, Ed Sakota, Market Wizards. He's in the Market Wizards books. Purely mechanical type of guy, man.
Apple was 76.
76. Okay, so it was when they were starting out, right?
Up, yeah.
So what does technicals look on a chart, right? This is just a screenshot of price action with just on a chart. This is in bar form. A lot of people like to use the candles. Totally fine. Some highlights of what technical pattern charts are is price action. We got the charts, patterns, support, resistance. Right? Did you want to add to that anything that I miss? Just to sum it up.
Indicators.
Indicators, yep, that is another good one. So I mean that's how this translates into um, technicals, and so we have a actual trade read from your awesome trade. I think it was last week, huh? The
Yeah,
euro.
euro dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could go ahead and take over and explain what you saw and what those things are in the middle with the orange and the red. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I'll break it down a bit.
yeah.
So what you're seeing at the bottom of these boxes, they're news announcements, and I only calibrated my news announcements to show red and yellow, which are very high, um, not high risk, but high volatile news announcements to a medium high. So that's what the orange and red differentiate. But I'm not a fundamental trader. I just wanted to pull that up to show that when there are news announcements, the market does move during those times. Usually you could expect volume during those times. And as I was going to sleep, I placed an entry order just below my descending chart. It's in a bear, technical wise, I'll break it down. It's in a bear run followed by a bear consolidation pattern. It's rejecting my EMAs, and on a candle form, these are candlesticks. It's creating a high test on my EMA. So, and the pattern is right there, and it could break with a high volume news announcement. It could break below certain support and resistance lines. So that's breaking it down completely technical. So regardless of news announcements, I would have placed the trade, and that's kind of like what differentiates technical. But there's times like in the market, you'll find that they go together. Is that like the market will move without a news announcement, and the market will move with news announcements. So it just depends. But this one, all the stars kind of lined up. So yeah, that kind of breaks it down, sums it up a little bit.
Nice,
So yeah,
nice.
to me, this was a good to go. It's on my watch before I realized there were news announcements.
Yep. So this is the before snapshot, and then what I have following will be the after snapshot of what happened. Huh? Ooh, look at that. So, yep, before, after, and you can go ahead and explain what happened here too.
Yeah. So the news announcement came out. It was around our bedtime in Hawaii. It triggered overnight, I believe, at like 9 o'clock. I'll have to double check, but yeah, 9 o'clock. Usually, a lot of announcements, especially with like euro or pound, and yeah, like yen happens during our day middays, but most dollar pairs, they happen at like 4 in the morning, or pound they happen late at night, like 10, 9, 10 ish, because of the market time. So the news announcement came. Now that I remember, it's like 4 a.m. Volume spiked up because of the news announcement. It was a Fed news announcement. It's a red, high caliber news announcement. Price broke below all levels. My entry was just below that bottom support line.
The what
Uh,
was it? The white one
uh, yeah. The If you move
or
your
the blue?
mouse, uh, just that right down, right, that white line, the
Yeah, the
solid
white one.
horizontal line, right
Okay.
there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a mini support line, or yeah, support resistance, and it broke that because of the news announcement. The volume came in, broke below those levels, and it broke very bearish. So it was a nice bear move. Got out on that first corrective, and I missed the latter half of that bear run, but it was a really nice trade. That the technicals, it's a perfect example of technicals and fundamentals lining up together.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
Mm-hmm.
like you'll see price action move exactly like this without any news announcements as well, which is why I like to cater to technicals.
Solid, man. Love it. Oh, cool. So I mean, just to add to that, I included a trade I took back in 2018. This is a natural gas futures, and this was, yeah, back in 2018, September. So on the technical chart, as you can see here, starting from the left of the chart, massive bear run down here. Then the market went chop, but we had a lower high. I mean, a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high. So it's like, okay, it might be start trending. Then it just took a dump back, and so it's just rebounding within this range. And my purple line I drew here was a technical entry point for a trade. And so what you saw, by the time it broke and closed above, this is a daily chart, above my purple line, which would be an entry, it was time to roll over to a new contract. So I could not get in. And immediately after the contract open, price pulled back down, and it kind of used that level as some sort of support. Then it shot back up, and eventually I think I did get in, maybe around here. And you could see these were my entry points. But then again, it price kind of, as it got closer to expiration, it kind of just bounced around in the range. And then you can see, and this was already in October. So this trade technically was triggered back in September 2018. Now it's October, new rollover. And you could see, so it peaked at about 3.3 or 3.35. Just remember that, because I'm going to show you the next slide of what happened next. This was like my biggest trade, like at that time, or almost until this date, it was a big, massive trade for me. It was big.
Hold on, right before you go to the next slide. So you're entered at the top, or all those arrows are your entries?
So I don't remember exactly, but according to my strategy, I would have entered at 3.0, but I would have to close it, and then my next entry with the new contract would have been at 3.05. and maybe I would have got stopped out. I don't know if my stop was big enough. Then I would have re-entered. If I did get stopped out, then I would have re-entered at 3.1, and I would have held it until I got knocked out, probably at this one, And so this, on the just a technical base, there's no news. Zero news I used, like no info. I don't know anything about natural gas, that whole market out. Zero, like natural gas. I'm like, okay, is that propane? You barbecue dog? Like, maybe it's for the heater. I think, I don't know. So the next slide, um, I was bullish on this market, and the next slide, this is where the market took off, just crazy. Okay, so in the previous slide, we peaked at 3.35, and then we went to a new contract, and I just pasted this news article back in 2000 October 4th, 2018. Okay, on the technical side, you already got entered long. Okay, and then news came in. This was, I forget what it was, one of those bigger websites, and it was just saying that the stockpiles were low, and no, there's a higher than usual demand. That was their fundamentals. And so whenever this came, was the 4th of October, and so maybe it pulled back a little, and it just went sideways. And then when it went to a new contract at the end of October, that's when it just took off. We got this major gap high, and so I got in on this new contract at 3.4, and I rolled it according to this rectangle you see at 4.6. And that, well, I don't forget how many ticks that was, but each tick on at this market was $12.50 each tick, each pip, kind of. You could compare it to,
Wow,
you know.
dude. Amazing
So
move.
I caught, and like I was scared for my life almost, like holding when I was like at this fourth arrow. I was like, dude, I'm holding a big profit. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Right? And it just kept pumping, and I didn't know what was driving it. All I knew was, okay, prices in my favor. Going for the ride. Going for the ride. And so finally, so after when it price started taking off like this, my trailing stop just moved. It just continued on. And so my trailing stop, even though price peaked at 4.9, my trailing stop got me out at 4.6. And this equaled out to $2,500 a contract profit. At the end of the day, I watched, like, and this was just strictly technical. I pasted this news article here as just like showing you, like, hey, fundamentals, can provide some sort of information if you use it in a certain way. But yeah, I made this trade purely on technicals and what I saw on the chart, and it was wonderful, man.
An amazing example. That's an amazing example.
Yeah, and I hope, like,
How long?
people. What was that?
Oh, how long were you in this trade? A month?
It got to be a month, I think, because I got
Yeah.
in. If this line lines up, yeah, the 29th, probably got out at the 15th or 16th, probably a little bit. So 15th maybe I got out because I don't know if. Can I zoom in? Oh, I cannot zoom in. No. But there's this big, after this long green bar, there's this major red bar after that. And so that one guaranteed took out everyone's stop. Like, if
Yeah.
you had a wide stop, like, you would have got taken out and your profits would have dropped. So just to put it in perspective, like this red candle is the half of the size of the rectangle that I drew, over a month. So I
It,
mean,
it closed, right? It closed.
it
It's
closed.
basically a bearish engulfing of that,
Absolutely,
almost that
absolutely.
red
Oh,
rectangle.
it was, because it opened at
Wow.
4.7 and it closed
Yeah.
at 3.9, and so you can tell. I think I want to, maybe I want to do some research. I want to say a lot of trend followers or big hedge funds were in this trade, and probably that's when you saw them dump their contracts right here with this bar. Yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing example, and it almost makes you think like, does technicals drive the market or does fundamentals drive the market? And it's always a 50-50. A fundamentals will say no, fundamentals did that. But a technicals would be like, yeah, I caught the move before. And then be like, fundamentals is laggy. No, technicals follow fundamentals. So it's just like, it's an argument that no one will win. But
Right.
when you put them together, it's a match made in heaven.
Using technicals or fundamentals, you can create a base for your trading approach. What does your personality gravitate toward? There is no single better way, right? There's no golden trading plan, as you would say. There is no holy grail of trading.
It all comes down to the person, your personality, your
Personality, what works for you at the end of the day, whether it is, hey, if you are good at reading news and interpreting it, bruh, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Quick thing before we end, I'll mention that two examples of like fundamentals and the trader that we talked about is like there's a millionaire trader. There's a documentary on YouTube, guys. You can just Google uh a millionaire lifestyle trader. It's very simple title. And to sum it up, he trades news all the time, but he's up really, really early in the morning. His wife is stressed out because of him. If he has a bad day, she knows. He turns on, he has a bunch of screens. The radio's on when he's driving his car. He listens to the news. So he's all about what's going on in the market world for as far as news goes. And then but he's a millionaire. So he's a full-time trader. He knows what he's doing and he's really good at it. Contrary, you have this dude who lives a humble lifestyle to us. He doesn't drive a fancy car, not fast or anything. He has a son. He's single. He just takes care of his family, his immediate needs. He lives in a small house, and he trades in his room. He's price action trader. Doesn't listen to the news, and he just plays video games after he trades. So I mean that there's very different lifestyles when it comes to trading. You can be the flashy type. You could be the humble type. You could be the fundamental type. You could be the technical type. It's all dependent on you, and has been emphasized. It's your personality, how you want to trade, and that will your personality really goes into your trading plan. What kind of person you are. So
Yeah. How did you know that you were a technical guy? When in your trading career did you notice that?
it was in the great question. It was in the beginning though, because I tried to like pay attention to the news and I tried trading it. But to me, technicals just simply made sense. And then I was never one to watch news like growing up, even though like my parents they would have it on. I would zone it out, and it just didn't like I don't. It stresses you out. Like in my mind, it does. It really stresses. It's unnecessary worry. What's going on in the world? In our immediate world, yeah, it's important. But like KHON and all that, KITV, I don't watch the news. The most I watch is the weather or surf report. But I don't care what's going on in the market. I don't even like what Elon says. Like that's cool, Uncle Elon, but I'm doesn't matter to me. How about you, Glenn? How about you?
Yeah, no, that's good. I think when I started, the first article I read about trading, I think we talked about this before. It was about a forex trader, a lady forex trader, and the article had charts in there, and it had screenshots of the way she traded and the way she set up her charts, and it was just lines to me. But it was intriguing to me, and then I realized like, okay, I do like figuring things out, like puzzles. I do like numbers in a way to a certain degree, and I do like just like taking the time, mazes, right? Just figuring things out. And so I realized that throughout my life, and then when I finally dove into trading and learned it only made sense. And I think for me, the books, you still gotta read the books. And then, like, even though it's boring and or it's not just charts, right? There's is words, and for me, what kind of um help a lot was understanding the philosophy of the great traders out there, the way they thought, their thought process, the way they viewed the market and whatnot. And so these guys have already done it. They're successful. So you don't got to reinvent the wheel. Just follow what they did, right? So in a combination of just like, hey, I do my personality is this. I like figuring out puzzles. Plus, I learned the psychological the well, I said it earlier. Their perspective on trading from the greats, certain traders I learned from. So combine those two, and then yeah, this is where I'm at. Like I agree with you. The news is very negative, especially when this pandemic broke out, dude. Very negative. I still like even aside from trading, like in just life. That was one of the big things our mentor drilled into us is to protect your brain because that is one of your most valuable assets. Period.
Oh,
You know.
believe that for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so that was good. Going back to fundamentals and technicals, that's kind of the spiel that we have. I hopefully that's some valuable information. I think you guys can just benefit from it and learn and figure out where you fit as a trader there. You know.
To sum up, oh yeah, to sum up everything, fundamentals equals news, technicals equals price action, and
Yes.
that's pretty much what it is. That's it.
Yes. And there are guys out there that's just killing it on both ends. And then there's the rare ones I forgot to mention, like they're hybrids. They use both. Like Ray Dalio, okay, Mr. Bridgewater Capital. There's I think George Soros kind of uses that too. And so they're hybrid kind of guys. They kind of that's when like you reached a certain level, you just morph things and you know put on a little wizardry and make it
And you
happen.
know people in the industry, like, hey, they're doing this or they moved to this country. Why? Or like some place, something's going on in a certain market. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean that's it. Like you can make it happen. Make both work for you. That'd be best case scenario, I believe.
coming back to like what you're talking about the trading psychology and everything, it sounded like you fell in love with the journey. And I just want to emphasize, like, it's the process, it's the journey of becoming a trader that a lot of people in this industry really don't preach about. They preach about making money. And yes, it's what it's about. It's about making the money, but in the end, you're learning so much about yourself and bouncing off fundamentals and technicals. The only way you're gonna know is you got to know yourself to a certain degree, and that's becoming and that's like reading those books. Like when you want this, you want to read. Reading becomes fascinating about the topic and the subject. Like I'm not gonna read about our like I don't know. I can't math. I'm not gonna read about math, but I'll read about trading. And because it's so amazing psychologically and how our brain functions and how we think, that all goes into trading too. Why we make the decisions we make, and I think that's just to me that is very very fascinating, and it's so amazing to learn more about ourselves, myself. It's the journey. It's the journey you got to enjoy if you want to become a full time trader.
Boom, boom. That is it. That is that extra nugget you just received right there, free of charge, man. That's Ricky. That's gold, man. That's good. That wraps it up for tonight with the fundamentals and technicals. Yeah, like just figure out what side fits for you, and then trade on, and it's okay. You can switch sides, guys. You don't gotta be dedicated. Who knows? 10 years from now, it might be fundamental, guys.
Hey, yeah, never throw it out of the basket yet, right? Like always be flexible. That's it. All the greats say that. Just be flexible in your position, also be flexible in your strategy. But I mean, you got to have rules and a plan, and then make sure you back test, make sure you test that new plan. And if it doesn't work, throw it out. If it works, apply it. So it's always about adaptation. Markets are always changing. You have to change with it, change with the times.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, just emphasize on that. Don't play whack-a-mole with your strategies and approach, guys. Like you gotta stress test it. Stress test your strategy, whether it be technicals or fundamental. There are guys out there who trade only presidential elections, or guys who trades at the turn of the decade. Yeah, and they
Fun
kill it.
fact:
What?
when I traded the election for the first time, and when Trump was running, and so
16?
like
2016?
yeah, 2016. So I was dumb, right? Little ego got the best of me. I'm still learning to be my best version. 2015 is when I started actual self developing, but 2013 is when I placed my first trade. So 2016 comes around. I'm not journaling. I'm not doing anything that a good trader is supposed to do. I'm like, you know what? I'm put a lot of leverage on this election. I I wasn't I didn't care who won, right? All I know was the dollar's gonna move. So I think it was like a pound dollar position, and I think I bought the thing tanked, man. Dollar tanked, and then it shot right back up. So it like took me out for a major loss, and it shot right back up. And I was literally on my phone talking to my friend in the garage, like, bro, I'm up so much money right now, blah blah blah. And then it tanked, and then it went back. It was like a whipsaw, right? That's what happens in elections. So there's high volatility, but like Glenn said, it's so possible to trade a certain news announcement or a certain event like that, and you could make money. It's totally possible. But what I did was came out in complete ego. I just wanted to make money, so I put on a lot of money. I was like, I know the market's gonna move. I wasn't looking at technicals. I was looking at the election. So it was a dumb move. A learning experience.
Woo!
Learning experience.
That's some courage, man. Putting in some real money, because I think at the
Something
time I was
got me.
I was on demo that night. I was trading demo, 2016 election night, and then um, because I wasn't like, that was my first exposure to big moves like that, or a very volatile market, and so yeah, like you said, I was full of emotion, and even on my demo account, I was like, being a pansy, man. Like, I could not withstand any moves. I kept entering and closing. Like, the broker
Oh
would
yeah.
have well, the broker would have been rich that night because all the commissions they make off of my in and outs. But yeah, man, it's just very very funny
Yeah.
how things change.
Oh yeah. Come to think of it, I think I actually bought and sold a few positions, and it just kept whipsawing. I'm like, this is stupid. Yeah, I don't know how much I lost. I don't want to put a number on it, but it wasn't a lot, you know. But I mean, at the time, it was like $1,000 something is a lot, you know. So I don't know, man. But it was percentage wise, yeah, I fucked my account. Excuse my language.
You went to Vegas that night without even going to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was fun, man. Careful, trade safe out there. Risk managers first.
Next week, Trader
Yeah.
Tuesday topic.
Go.
We're gonna be going over the candlesticks. We'll break down, dissect the anatomy of candles.
Yes.
Stay
Cool.
tuned for that.
All right, y'all.
All right.
We'll put that email out. This will be uploaded to the network, and I hope this provided a lot of value to you guys. Hope you guys learned a lot. If you have any questions, hit us up. Join us next time.
Chips.